Slugterra, an animated series that was the childhood of many and being cancelled by the fandom. However, I didn't see many talking about this series in the way of theory or analysis, which saddens me because this series has a great world building that many should follow. But today, it will change. In that channel, welcome to the first part of the trilogy. Today, theories. Let's begin from the start, where everyone met Slugterra, the main character, Elaine Shane, and Pronto, who was hiding for some reason in Shane's HQ. Even so, the question was never answered in the series or in the Sluggy Souls. I think I have the answer. As you could see in the series, Pronto is responsible for carrying the wagons that the team needs, so I can deduce that Pronto worked as a delivery man after he felt as a lonely hero in his younger years, and one day he received an order to deliver the most effective and most updated vehicle of all Slugterra to a place which has been abandoned for around 10 years. It will recreate curiosity for Pronto or anyone who will receive the order. So Pronto felt curious to know what would happen that day in the home of the highest authority and celebrity in all of Slugterra. The Mechabits are the main vehicle in Slugterra due to the fact they can travel through the uneven terrain of the caves. But the real question is, why the Mechabit has animal form if the animals don't exist in Slugterra? Let's explain and discover each case. First, it lies because the wall is a change symbol and probably for other protectors. Second, the bears. Yep, they are bears. The most common is the chicken, which we can see already cooked, and other species is the crows or ravens, which can be observed in episode 1, episode 2, and the Enigma episode. Third, the snakes are based on real snakes which were mentioned in Slugfoot Showdown.
I don't see why we have to hiss. Snakes hiss. Spiders don't hiss.
The other species left are equines, bulls, elephants, hyenas, and felines. It should be noted that the Mechabits were created 300 years before the event of the series, so the fauna could be changed a lot. Yes, the theory says that Slugterra can hold other animals very similar to the surface, but with the hard condition to survive, and probably hunters, the animals gone extinct and the population replaced them by Mechabits. Also, the cave painter of ancestors could have been inspiration as well as people who came from the surface and ended up in Slugterra by accident, without mentioning the fact that everything was connected through the portal so long ago. It could explain why Mechabits' design between Slugterra and the Easter Cavern are not so different, and also they show us a few chapters focused on a historical museum and exploration of the fauna beside of the logs. The ghouls has been the main focus in their own plot, but one question is why Black wanted more and more ghouls. I mean, it is obvious to create an army to reach his plan, and because many decided to live by their own forming hearts rather than return to the slinger, which made you think that maybe they are controlled by their instinct rather than their intelligence, but no, they have personalities and awareness. That's why Tempesto didn't open a portal when he beat Burpee in the competition episode 2. Loki was loyal to Twist. The ghouls enjoy the evil action from the slingers, and some ghouls were loyal to Tad. Plus, someone could be hired to collect the free ghouls, solving a lag ghouls problem. But in reality, the ghouls race against the time because they will lose their transformation ability. As we could watch in What Lies Beneath, the slugs lost their magic to transform in the deep caverns. So they resort to become into ghouls. And we could deduce that the same case happened with the ghouls in Slugterra. But how ghouls are still connected with the slug energy generates an anomaly that allows ghouls using dark magic in Slugterra for a limited time. That will explain why Tree stops using locking to the barrels and why in deep dark water, no one has ghouls because many have lost their ability transformation at this point of the show. However, that anomaly was expanded almost completely when Black almost won in episode 39 and almost turned the elementals into ghouls. Clarifying with the Eastern Cavern, the ghouls were uncommon because the Emperor wanted slugs, not ghouls. And when ghouls became more common, it was when Lady Fu took control, which lasted a few weeks. No matter how much the Chains Gang saves the day, they always have financial problems, and it seems they don't have a standard payment because there is not any governor who controls only Slugterra. Besides that Eli refuses to use Slug as payment, it leads me to conclude that they could earn money looking for treasure without honor, save money from Shane or any member, and Trixie's videos. As we know, Trixie made videos for all Slugterra, and she has some popularity because many recognize Eli after the competition, and some of her videos are actually the slug shows that teaches the slinger basics. So we can say that Trixie is the streamer who keeps the team afloat financially. Molonoids are a species that is stupid and ignorant because its kings desire it, and wrote, ignorance is bliss. But why a kind of bliss or perfect happiness? While Molonoids are living beings that discover multiple tunnels to many places, among them to the deep caverns and the surface, which brought many conflicts and disputes for sharing this knowledge. As well, avarice and avarice are always present in all living beings, so any Molonoid could use that information for evil purposes, forcing the royal family to become their realm into stupid people, being only a few who keep a normal intelligence to keep their knowledge and avoid a collapse or the extinction of the species. Also, there is one new question. Why are the Molonoids in Slugterra and not in other caverns? Easy, probably they gathered the population in one point to avoid story repeating but in another location. But why specifically in Slugterra? Well, that will be the next theory. In Ghouls from Beyond, it was mentioned that there are more caverns, not only Slugterra, and is finally confirmed in Return to the Eastern Cavern with a symbol in a portal. Three of them we already know. They are Eastern Caverns, Slugterra, and the Surface, but the others remain unknown. But I can deduce that it could drive to the Northern Caverns, Southern Caverns, Western Caverns, and the Deep Caverns. It could be an indicative or a clue that everything was connected until something awful or horrible happened that forced them to close and bury them. However, Slugterra seems to have the most important things, such as having direct access to the deep caverns, Molonoids, an important shadow clan population, and even the elemental's original location. It means that Slugterra is the center of everything, and therefore the most important place on the entire planet for some reason. Jimo Shane was Will Shane's predecessor and who raised Eli when he turned into 15 years old, but he did something incredibly irresponsible, writing a diary with detailing information about Slugterra and how to reach the surface. The Shane's main task is to hide all traces of the surface and leave a book with said information. It seems an inconsistent and a total danger after Will Shane rescued Burpee from Black. We don't know for how many generations or how Jimo lost the Infernus, so it can say that Jimo lost all his hopes to return to the surface and decided to write a diary for his descendants. That way the next generation will know that the Burning War is not a myth. But of course, Will Shane got Burpee and the diary become useless. However, the diary and Burpee could be the answer of how Black reached the surface, but he realized that it would be impossible to fight and conquer the software, so he stayed in Slugterra, but not before leaving a son in that place. And who did what with whom? That we'll never know. Let's see the slugs one more time, specifically Dog the energy elemental. If that slug becomes into a ghoul, there wouldn't be any way to revert into the normal. However, there is a small hope. The light well, a place where slugs can research and heal. Maybe it could be the last hope for this elemental. It is the explanation, or maybe there are more elemental energies in other caverns, and it is necessary to transform all of them into ghouls to be able to affect its descendants. They live separated to avoid that catastrophe. That would explain why Dog couldn't remember that he is an elemental. He is a semi-elemental, and or a small fraction of a powerful power separated for the good of all. And that explains why Gondox is so powerful. He is the elemental energy from the Easter Caverns. Let's talk about another specific slug, the Negashade, or what I call the giant slug. That slug is not so common as many people think. It's kinda rare. It makes me think that maybe it could be the only slug, a slug normal, no ghouls, that can transform slugs into ghouls, or maybe put any curse or disease with a proper training. After all, Negashade in theory represents evil and corruption, while Sonic is good and healing. And not bring me with it appears as a ghoul, because even the Gundogs can be turned into a ghoul. Neither with the excellent slug, which would be the same ability, give bad or good luck, because it will be the same case as Pyringos and Infernus. They make the same function, just one is weaker and limited than the other one. And a session shows us a curious case where the slugs are more terrible than usual. Of course, we can argue that Eli and Trixie have been battered longer out of scene before the first episodes, but neither of these spin-off final makes no sense because they have rested enough. Therefore, I think it is the location that makes them so tired. I mean, in the whole spin-off, we could see a lot of Flopper as slug habitats, but never another slug, such as Fandango, Pyringos, or even Hop Rock. So we can conclude that these caverns don't have enough energy for a long battle as the gang was used to, due to the lack of diversity of slugs, but there is enough energy to keep the cavern alive. And if you ask why it didn't happen in the Easter Cavern, it is because they use ghouls, not everyone slingers, the main fights were in the Peach Blossom Spring Cavern, place where the most slugs were, and the gun had the elementals that they are directly a super powerful source of prime magic for slugs, almost an inexhaustible source of energy, and with ghouls and their invulnerability explanation is the same as failed fusion that Eli did. The Dark Warden protects them. Mimi could have a new species, one more evolved slug with some improved slug mechanisms such as better adaptation to walls or not needing a torpedo to transform underwater. The reason of why Tad didn't become his best slug into a ghoul could be that he already knew that she would lose her transformation after time, or he experienced during the return of Elemental was very traumatized because he was very close to the afterlife due to her uncontrolled sonic waves. The reason Shadow Clan did not extinct the human race could be thanks to the slugs, who asked them not to do it. Remember that Shadow Clan venerate and respect the slug and obey them as best they can, but not before making it clear that humans are not mess with the clan. Will's message could have modified by the Enigma due to we don't know for sure how the messages are recorded and kept into the Enigma. It is possible that Enigma or others can edit the video until a certain point, explaining why ghouls appear so realistic and specific in the example of what happens when something serious happens to an elemental. We know that Emperor is his jail again, but he can escape using again the same first strategy. Therefore, the elementals are in great danger if they don't look for new guardians. Fortunately, it will take centuries or even millennials. And that's all my theories that could create why I rewatch this series. But tell me, do you have any theories? Don't forget to subscribe, comment, follow my social networks, and see ya, Starlitos!